Okay, for this project, we are going to be creating a low poly portrait. I'll show you what that looks like. You can see right here, essentially what we're going to do is reconstruct an image using simple geometric shapes, namely triangles. And so for that, we're going to start off by creating an Instagram size page or artboard here in our vector graphics software. And we're going to go to File, and we're going to import place image, and then we're going to bring in this picture of a wolf, or you could copy and paste it. And then we're going to resize it so that it fills approximately this much of the page. It doesn't have to be exact, but we want the image to take up a sizable portion of the screen. Then we're going to lock the image right here. Okay, so click right there to lock it. That way we won't accidentally move our reference image. I just unlocked it, so I'm going to make sure that, there we go, we've locked the layer. Next thing that we're going to do is we're going to use a feature of the software called a grid. We're going to go to View, Canvas, Show Grid, and that's going to put up, it's a little bit hard to see, but if I zoom in, you can see that we now have this overlay of a grid. And next we're going to go to View, we're going to go to Snap To. We want Use Snapping to be checked. We want to snap to grid, and we want to snap to anchor points. We want those two checked. The rest you could probably uncheck. And what that's going to do is when you use any tool, for example, the pen tool, even if I click in the middle, it's going to snap to the nearest intersection of the grid point. And so what that's going to allow us to do is create some shapes that overlap or sort of connect at their corners. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom out here, and I'm going to delete anything that I have here, so I just have the image. And I'm going to use my pen tool to construct triangles that sort of fill spaces of color. For this, I'm going to want to take my pen tool, and I'm going to set the fill color to off. I don't want any fill color at this point. So I just click this eyeball so that there is no fill color. And then I want to use a border color that is a high contrast to the photograph. So I'm using this cyan color right here. And I want my stroke to be 1 pixel, or my border to be 1 pixel. Looks like I'm having some technical issues right here. The page is wandering over. And then make sure that this is set to 100%. Okay, so now I'm going to zoom in, and you can see that we're going to sort of simplify this image into triangles. So for this ear right here, I would maybe take a point right there, and I'm going to sort of click one time, and I'm going to click to here, and then I'll click to here and here. You can see that I sort of captured this area of color. Now, if your eyeball here turns back on for whatever reason, just go ahead and turn it off. Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another triangle, and I want all points to connect. And so if I click on this right here, you're going to see a minus sign shows up. And so I don't want to click on a triangle when it is already selected, because it will delete an anchor point. As you can see, I'll demonstrate that right here. You see it deletes the anchor point. I don't want to do that. But if I click somewhere else and then I click on it, it will not delete it. So now I'm going to create another triangle like so. Again, we'll go ahead and we'll click that. And we're going to essentially, if that keeps happening, what we can do is select our pointer tool, and we'll re-grab the pen tool. Let's see if that turns on again. Maybe it was just a fluke. We'll click here. Notice that I'm sort of staying in these lines of color, as you can see right in this area. I'm actually going to do this in 2 different steps right here. So like right to here and here, and then we'll go here, 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 and make sure you close each shape. And again, you can select multiple at a time, and then you could turn the eyeball on and off, or we could even try lowering the opacity down to 0% like so. I'm gonna grab my pen tool again. I have it now, and I'm gonna click here, and now I'm sort of creating this eyeball right here. Okay, and we're gonna just sort of go, and we're gonna construct this wolf out of a bunch of different triangles. And again, we don't have to be super precise for this to give us the desired effect, but we do want to sort of divide it. The fewer triangles you use, or sorry, the more triangles you use, the opposite of what I just said, the more detail your image will have. And so you're going to see me keep going and going and going, and I'm just going to end up constructing this entire wolf shape, or this entire wolf picture, out of triangles. So I'm going to find this right here, this here, here, and here. Now I'm going to pause. I'm going to get ahead a few steps because you sort of get the idea at this point. I'll show you the next thing. So give me one moment. Okay, so you can see I've gotten a little bit further ahead. When you have these areas of color that are all pretty much the same, you can make large triangles to cover that entire expanse, as you can see right here. So up in the detailed portions, like by the head, you're going to be very more detail oriented. But when you get down to these areas, you can cover more space. But you basically just want to follow the swaths of color when you are constructing your shapes. So I'm going to do a couple more just to sort of, again, further show you how this is going to work. We'll, again, just sort of approximate the shape. This is low poly, and so we are sort of intentionally not being super detail oriented in the way that we construct this. So like here, I can cover a big old triangle right here, and then this area here. So we have a couple of interesting colors in this space here. And then we'll do just a few more right to here. Notice how the snapping is not letting us really go in between the intersecting points of the grid. So everything overlaps and intersects. So we're not going to have any like little sheds of or threads of color slipping through. Now, one thing I want to point out, if you click and drag, that's going to bend your line. We don't want to have any curved lines in this. So if that happens, just hit undo and then go ahead and finish up. Okay, so now I'm going to select everything that I have done. Well, I'll add one more right here. So I'll grab my pen tool. These little fine details will make a difference as you're working. Okay, now what I'm going to do is grab my pointer tool. I'm going to select everything right here, and I'm going to set my fill color to 0%, like so. If you have any mistakes, like right here, see this got a little bit wonky, you can grab your sub-select tool, and I'm going to make sure that all of these points are on the same area, and it looks like what happened. Notice this triangle right here, I should have put this anchor point there. Okay. That way everything intersects. Basically just creating a mesh of the shape. Now you're going to do this for the entire body. You can see that the body you can do in bigger triangles. The legs will have to be smaller triangles. But once that's all done, what you're going to do is you're going to I'll zoom in, and you're going to use your pointer tool, and you're going to click on one of the shapes like so, and you'll click on the fill color eyedropper, and then you're going to click in the middle of that triangle, and you're going to see that will inherit the color. And you want to click on the color that is most representative of that shape, as you can see like I am doing here. So basically every single triangle I'm going to click, and then I'm going to click into the middle of it, and that is going to allow me to build this essentially low poly version of this animal. When you get to the detailed areas like the eyes, the more triangles you use, the more detailed it would be. But I want to click on this dark area right here, as you can see, and I'm going to go and pointer tool and then eyedropper after I have built every single shape. I'll do a couple more just to demonstrate. If you have a hard time selecting a triangle for some reason, sometimes the border will be on top of the other one, so you can't really select it. So like I click on this border, I can't select here. So if you click in the middle right here and you drag through both like so, then you hold the shift key and click on this other one again, that will deselect it. And so now I can go ahead and I can continue to finish this process. So basically you're just going to do this until you get to this point where you have rebuilt the entire wolf, and then we'll add a radial gradient on the back. Make sure that you save it frequently. Make sure that you then export it as a JPEG and submit it to Google Classroom. Here we go.